Welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. Tower Talk Business Radio brings you conversations with the top business minds on Long Island and around the nation, including expert consultants and small business owners who have found success, but are also willing to share their top tips, failures, and give gritty, matter-of-fact advice based on their first-hand experience. And now, let's get down to business with Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation.
Hello, and welcome to Tower Talk Business Radio, powered by the Nassau Community College Foundation. My name is Ray Schwetz, AVP of Business Services at NEFCU, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, keeper of the brand Marketing and Digital Agency, and we're focused on being the premier resource for business and entrepreneurship.
Ray and I bring you weekly advice, tips, tools, and services that would help you grow your business. Plus, we interview top business leaders in the industry. First, let's jump into Success Chat. According to Jeff Hazlett, to be a great maestro, you must first play a lot of bad tunes. And many business owners do, Ray. Some business leaders are always on the go, and they really don't take the time to enjoy the journey and listen to the music of life, which is one reason that they actually started their own business. What do you think about the hustle and bustle of small business owners and what they go through?
Well, many of the businesses that I work with, their owner, their operator, their marketer, their bookkeeper, they're a little bit of everything. And honestly, I think, sometimes you have to make those mistakes and then find the right partners to help you with some of those things and realize what things they should be focusing their business on. And I'll answer your quote with a quote from Janet Fitch, which is that the phoenix needs to burn before it emerges.
I love it.
All right.
Burn, baby.
Yes. And speaking of staying on the right key, helping provide you with business empowerment today is our guest, Louis Panacciulli, conductor of the Nassau Pops Symphony Orchestra. Lou has been the music director and conductor for the Nassau Pops Symphony Orchestra since 1984. Mr. Panacciulli conducts the concert band of Nassau Community College, where he is an adjunct professor of music. And in 2016, he was appointed conductor and music director of the Rockaway Five Towns Symphony Orchestra. He recently retired as music teacher in the Valley Stream School District. Congratulations, Lou. Mr. Panacciulli has been instrumental in raising thousands of dollars to benefit the United Cerebral Palsy Association of Nassau County. In past years, he has been the recipient of the Shining Star Award of Nassau and the Make a Difference Award from the town of Hempstead. Mr. Panacciulli attended the Mains College of Music? Manus. I knew I was pronouncing that wrong. And has a bachelor's degree in the music from Pace University and a master's degree from New York University. Lou, welcome.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get started in music?
Well, I come from a musical family. My mother was a pianist. My father was a guitarist. I have an uncle that was in the big bands in the 40s.
Oh, nice.
So I was surrounded by music from a very young age. I'm the youngest of 3 children. And my older brother and sister both took piano lessons. My mother, one of her purchases when they got married was to buy a piano because she just loved to play. Of course, being the youngest, watching my siblings taking piano lessons, of course, I had to do the same thing. So I started playing the piano when I was about 7 and continued with piano lessons all the way through high school.
Sounds like we have a child protege on here.
Well, I'm not so sure about that, but I certainly enjoyed it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Now, Lou, what would you say as far as you started with piano, but what other instruments do you play?
Well, when I was going to school, I went to a Catholic elementary school. They don't have music programs in those schools. Now they do, strangely enough, but back when I was going to school, they didn't. So I just had my piano lessons that I was taking. When I went to high school, I was offered an opportunity to take up a wind instrument to play in the concert band. I went to Powell Memorial Academy in Manhattan. Everybody knows that school from the famous Lou Alcindor, who's now Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He was a senior when I started there in school, and I bumped into his elbow a few times walking through the halls. Anyway, I decided to pick up the clarinet. I mentioned my uncle. He was a clarinetist and a saxophone player. So it was natural that I gravitated towards that instrument. I picked it up very quickly because of my piano background. I already knew how to read, and I had a pretty good idea how to move my fingers. So it was a lot of fun, and I played it all through high school and decided to major in it when I went to college.
You're brave. I played the piano and the clarinet, so nice woodwind family.
It.
And but going to college with that's a great road to travel. So.
I barely played air guitar well.
Air guitar.
Yeah, that was the closest I got.
I understand they're offering majors in that.
We'll have to check in.
I'll have to come back. Yes, maybe for my master's. Did you have any roadblocks in your career with music?
Well, yes, I did. I knew I wanted to go to college to study music. In talking with people that I knew, the idea of going into education, music education, was probably the best course. I was able to share my gift of music with students and also have an opportunity to play in the evenings or on weekends as the opportunities arose. I got out of college in 1972, and it was a very bad time economically in New York City. There were no jobs. There was also a hiring freeze for teachers. So I was rather discouraged, but thank God for Mom. She said, why don't you use the opportunity to go back to school and get your master's degree? So that's what I did. I figured maybe after a year things would lighten up a bit.
Right.
And they didn't. So when I got out of NYU after a year, I did an intensive study, 2 summers and 2 semesters, and finished my master's degree in 1 year. But there were no jobs to be had. So I decided I needed to have a job. I needed to start working and become a good taxpayer here in the United States, and started working at a distributorship as a salesperson. I went from that company to Mobil Oil. I worked for Mobil Oil for 3 years. I left Mobil and started working for a sugar refinery in Yonkers, which is still there. It's now called a Domino refinery. Everybody knows Domino Sugar. I spent 15 years in the sugar business doing various things. I worked in sales for a while. I was in the raw sugar trading department, so I learned about trading commodities and buying and selling in the international market. And then I went to work for an exporter in Manhattan down on Wall Street. I worked for him for a few years and then started my own business at home. And for 4 years out of my home, I had an international trading business. And as luck would have it, it was about 1996, I think. My kids were grown, finished with school, and a teaching job opened up in my district in the music department. I had been teaching privately in the neighborhood, so I knew most of the music teachers in the schools and several of the board members. And I asked if it would be permissible for me to interview for the job. They gave me an interview date, and I started practicing all my other instruments again. And I interviewed and was very blessed to receive a new position in 1996. I changed careers at the tender age of 46 years old.
Nice.
Yeah.
How sweet this sound.
There are very few people that stay in one career throughout their professional life. You are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm Ray Schwetz, along with Donyshia Boston-Hill, and our guest today is Louis Panacciulli, conductor of the Nassau Pops Symphony Orchestra. So from sugar back to sweet symphonies.
Oh, well, there you go.
So you've made the art of music into a business. What led you from the start of Nassau Pops Wind Ensemble, and how did you kind of broaden out from that, or move out from that?
Well, actually, I started the Nassau Pops Symphony Orchestra in 1984. The Wind Ensemble came later.
Okay.
But that's a different story. I was working in business, moved out here to Franklin Square, and had pretty much stopped playing. But I had heard about Nassau Community College and the concert band they had here. So I called and asked if I could join the band. I thought maybe I'd get my clarinet skills back up again. That was back in 1981. And I started playing in the band and met a circle of musicians here that were involved in all sorts of things. The concert band at Nassau Community College is made up not only of students from the college, but community members that enjoy playing as well. So I met a nice mix of people and was invited to start playing in various community theater presentations. Sometimes a church or a synagogue will hold these Broadway shows, and they get the people in their church or synagogue involved in acting and putting the show together. I started playing in these shows, and before I know it, somebody offered me a position to direct a few. So I started music directing shows, and someone had mentioned after I think we were doing one of the Rodgers and Hammerstein shows. It might have been The Sound of Music. We were taking a break, and somebody said, I'm going to hate to see this show come to an end. It was so much fun putting an orchestra together and playing for these nice people and all this great music. Too bad we don't have an orchestra like this all the time. And I said, yeah, that would be a pretty large undertaking. And somebody said to me, well, you could do it, Louis. Why don't you give it a try?
Voluntold.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be great if always turns into, why don't you?
Yeah, I guess because of my business background, I started thinking of all of the things that needed to be done to start an orchestra. You'd need a place to rehearse. You'd need music stands. You need percussion equipment. You need music. You need money. Where were we going to get all of this? I started investigating things, and I spoke to the people here at Nassau Community College and told them that we were thinking of starting a summer orchestra. And one of the professors here said, okay, I'll be the faculty advisor. This way we could have access to the building. We started rehearsing here at Nassau. We did 3 concerts the first year in 1984. And from those 3 concerts, we've built the group. Several years later, I was invited to conduct the band at Nassau Community College, so I then became the faculty advisor of the group, and it went from there. We started with 3 concerts a year, and we're up to a dozen or so performances every year.
Now, Lou, what advice would you give to an aspiring musician? There's so many out there, some of our listeners that love music, but they're just quite not sure how to turn music into a business.
Yeah, a business. Well, turning music into a business is a difficult thing, but if there are just so many great musicians around today. Not all of them are blessed enough to be able to make a career out of performing. It's very difficult. The competition is tremendous. But I would say a good thing is to keep your eye on the goal, follow your star, if that's what you really want to do, and diversify a bit. Maybe get into teaching with children, get into playing in various other groups, and maybe network with a lot of other musicians. That's how you build your career. I don't know any successful musicians today that just do one thing. It's almost impossible. They teach, they play, they do various things to get along. I decided to get into education because I wanted to share music with young people. But it also provided a good, steady job and an income. And it just worked out very well.
No, it definitely does. So you are listening to Tower Talk Business Radio. Our guest today is Louis Panacciulli, conductor of Nassau Pops Symphony Orchestra. My name is Donyshia Boston-Hill, along with Ray Schwetz, on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I feel like if I didn't have anyone to push me, I wouldn't even bother to do it. I got one milestone down the drain, and now I got to work on the next. I see the future is really bright for me. I feel like it doesn't matter the age, as long as you go back and get it done. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
No one gets a diploma alone. You have more support than you